He's the most important guy for the Vancouver Canucks next season. His name isn't Elias Pettersson. His name isn't Quinn Hughes. His name is Filip Hronek. Should you love him? Should you hate him? Is he going to be good or bad? We're going to tell you next. It's Begsy and it's Bhawan, and you're listening to Locked On Canucks.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Trevor Beggs, Canucks writer and part-time credentialed media member for Daily Hive Vancouver. Before we dive into the show, we want to thank you for listening to Locked On Canucks. It's your team every day, but actually 3 to 5 days a week here in the summertime. But hey, whatever we're here for, go make sure you subscribe or follow for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Now today, again, we got to talk about him, okay? The most important man on the Vancouver Canucks next season. Got to talk about the good, the bad. Is there any ugly? I don't know. We're going to get to it soon. But first and foremost, someone who's, just as integral to Locked On Canucks as Hronek is to the real Vancouver Canucks, and that's Cal Bhawan. How you doing, brother?
Hey, man. How's it going? It's Friday. We made it. We fighting to not only live another day, but fighting to get closer and closer to the breakthrough, having one of our many dreams come true. Hey, speaking of what you just said about, big reason of Locked On Canucks and the success here, Kyle Bhawan, blah, 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 the Filip Hronek of the show, blah, blah, blah. Dude, we just had Jay comment again saying, oh, my goodness, we almost had a solo show with Trevor Beggs. How unfortunate that Kyle had to also want to talk hockey. Dude, let's hang out.
Oh, man.
Let's go to Tim Hortons together, okay? It's on me. Let's figure this out.
Wow.
Let's figure this out, dude. Because you don't want to get on my bad side, all right? Beggsy, you know what happens to the people. You know what I'm saying? No, we're not going to go there. Not going to go there, okay? Kyle Bhawan, Trevor Beggs, Locked On Canucks. Hey, the people, speaking of the people, shout out to Jay. We'll get to comment corner at the end of the show. We only have time for one comment, okay? Because it's a big one. It's a big one. And I got to go to the beach, okay? Anyways, Filip Hronek, he's the man, the myth, the legend. The dude that we don't know much about, the dude with one arm, maybe. Who knows? The dude that we question why Yzerman traded him for maybe nothing, as somebody alluded to yesterday, the biggest Filip Hronek fan of all time. He's just so polarizing and so important to this team. And Trevor Beggs, I'm excited to see what you dug up on the dude and what you got to say ultimately about, again, the most important player on the Vancouver Canucks.
Yeah, I think, for today's episode, let's start with the good, okay?
Okay.
You always call me the dark guy on the program, pessimistic Begsy, so let's start with the good. We'll get to some of the rest later on. But yeah, starting with the good. I mean, Filip Hronek just had his best NHL season last year, so again, we mentioned it on yesterday's show quickly in comment corner. Hronek had 39 points in 60 games. Moritz Seider, their number 2 defenseman, had 42 points in 82 games. So, only 3 points more than Hronek in 22 more games. So, Hronek last season, and Adam mentioned it yesterday, he did start to steal back some of that power play one time. Hronek on the power play in 2021-22 wasn't as good, but he was a really good puck distributor, really good primary assist rate. He was scoring some goals. But just everything about Hronek started to come together last season. And, I found this one comment from his former head coach, Jeff Blashill, to be interesting. So a couple years back, Jeff Blashill compared Filip Hronek to Mark Giordano, okay? He basically said that, he might not be the biggest guy in the world, but he's going to play tough. He knows how to defend. He's going to create some offense. He's going to be hard to play against. So,
Okay.
Mark Giordano, obviously a bit of a late bloomer. Hronek was completely the opposite. Hronek got thrown to the Wolves in a top pairing role early on in his NHL career. Now, Kyle, obviously that analytically that hurt the player, like he got shelled. But do you think there's some value in that, like being thrown to the Wolves that early in your NHL career? I mean, I think it could go both ways. So I'm curious your thoughts on it.
Well, being thrown into the Wolves and then being on just the most pathetic team at the same time is tough. And to see him get better analytically, because I didn't watch I don't watch any Filip Hronek games. Let's be honest. Let's be real. Other than the games that he got traded to Vancouver and he played in, blah, blah, blah. But just to see him get better through all of that is something. That's not easy to do. for real, to get closer and closer to your potential, while again being around a losing environment is tough. Now he gets thrown into the Wolves and he probably plays more minutes because of it, and they want to develop him, they use him, and they don't have a lot of good players. And again, tough, but progress is something that we have to hold on to. Canucks fans have to, bro. That's the biggest reason why they traded for him, because Alvin saw the progress, his pro scouts saw the development, and they think there's a lot of room there for him to improve. And, with the skill set that he does have, because it is unique, it is outlier-ish, for real. It's needed on successful teams. We got to hope that he, again, gets better. What do you think? Because I think when you're talking to a Canuck fan, we've thrown players into the Wolves, into the fire, right? And it didn't really work out all the time. But that being said, Quinn Hughes, Elias Pettersson, those guys got the push right away, pretty much right away, and it worked out. What do you think?
Yeah, I find that fascinating, but I think it just depends on the player. Like you said, we've seen it time and time again in this market. Guys get thrown to the Wolves, and it doesn't necessarily work out. Jared McCann probably would have developed a lot faster if he did spend that season in the AHL, as he said he should have. Jake Virtanen might have been lost cause. But even on defense, you look at Ben Hutton, Troy Stetcher. But those guys have benefited from maybe some extra seasoning. Ben Hutton was playing pretty tough matchups in his first season when he was voted the Vancouver Canucks best defenseman. What a time to be alive!
That happened? Wait, hold up.
Yeah,
Ben Hutton won the Alex Edler Award or the Matthias Olin Award or whatever it's called. Unbelievable, man. Are you serious? Yo, we've been through dark times, man. We've been through
seriously
dark times, and yeah, some players do need that patience and that comfort. And again, it really has to do with, again, we're talking about athletes that for parts of the majority of their lives, they were the best player on their team, like the best player in their city, maybe, best player in their league. All these players at one point, right? And then you get thrusted into your dream, but you're again around people who suck, like losing environments. No pro athlete, well, most of them don't like to lose. And to grow within that environment is A-level tough. Like, it's really, really hard. You can get sidetracked in a lot of different things, right? Let's say there's not a lot of success on the ice. You're probably looking for success elsewhere, right? In the clubs, at the restaurants, you got that paycheck. No, seriously. Like, you got other things to do to feel good about yourself, not to feel like a loser. When at the end of the day, like, whether you're in a losing environment or not, like, your objective, especially in the pro sports landscape, is to continue to get better, and especially when you enter the pros, because now you're with peers who are all pros, who have all been the best player in their positions, and you're all competing for not just Lord Stanley, but that paycheck, staying in NHL for a long time. So going back to Filip Hronek, I never really thought about it like this. The fact that he got better, a lot better last year, that's making me think, bro, this guy could be a gamer, a real gamer. And now you're making me also think, and you were there, that press conference at the end of the season, the dude didn't look stoic. Like, he seems pretty calm. He also looked really, like, angry, as if, like, he's seen the tweets / the YouTube videos about the trade, and how like some of the fan base, or a lot of the fan base, was not only just confused but a little angry as well, because it was like this guy and not a guy like Jacob Chikrin or something. You know what I'm saying? He just looked like he has something to prove.
Yeah, and I think it was the whole win now mentality. I mean, Kyle, you and I got to stay honest here. I believe, and again, every dayers know, but our first day hosting Locked On Canucks, March 1st, was when the trade dropped. And I think the next day our episode was called "Why the Hronek Trade Still Hurts."
Yeah, dude, he saw that video for sure. He saw your face. That's why he was so mad. He was there. And
yeah, that could have been. Yeah, I was sitting about 8 feet away from him. So,
dude, of course, man, of course, that fake energy,
Man.
Oh man.
So, hey, like I said, we're rooting for Filip Hronek, but I think there are some red flags, some risks that we'll get to the end of the side. But first and foremost, maybe a couple more good things about Hronek.
Dude, say it. Come on, say it.
Kyle, I got to say, the computer boys, they do love Filip Hronek, okay? Looking at that Athletics player card model, he was considered in the 90th percentile among defensive defensemen. Yeah, he was so good, he knocked your headphones off, Kyle. Unbelievable. So, again, considered one of the best defensive defensemen in the NHL last season. He had, fairly tough matchups. It wasn't the easiest, wasn't the toughest, but he had a decent amount of good competition he faced. And then the other model that paints Hronek in a great light, an amazing light, is wins above replacement. So at the time of the trade, Filip Hronek had the 5th best wins above replacement in the NHL.
Whoa.
Among defensemen. Quinn Hughes was 4th. So if you want to look at a glass half full here, and let's do it, the Canucks have, two of the 5 best defensemen in the league on their team. Is Hronek going to be the second best defenseman in Canucks history? I'm here for it, man. Let's go.
No, that's impressive, man. That's super impressive. And that's the type of energy we need, bro. That's the type of energy we need, man. We said it, man. We said it yesterday. Hope is dope. Hope is dope. Coming in October, hope is dope. And I feel as if, we've spent a lot of time this offseason, and rightfully so, talking about, Carson Soucy, Ian Cole, Teddy Bluger, filling up some holes, filling up some cracks, good stop gaps for, the next, the phase that's coming after the phase that we need to get to. And that's getting better, learning how to win. And then we want to contend, we got to get there. And these 3 players help us, again, get better next season. That being said, Filip Hronek, it has to be talked about more. This guy is the reason we can get a lot better sooner. If the grand slam is hit, this can't be a double or a triple, not even maybe a home run. But the way you're talking about it, there's a little bit of potential for this to be, again, a grand slam, a pivotal type of trade. And I wrote about this in my blog, and I haven't written the blog in about a week. I think I'm going to maybe write in the blog this weekend, drink some coffee, have a good time, chipping away at it. But great teams, you know what they do, Trevor Bags? They really win trades, like really win trades. Could this be one of them where they really win trades? And we talk about this trade 15 years from now. It was a risk, but paying that much, a top 17 pick and an extra pick for possibly a top 10, top 15 defenseman in the league, dude, that changes a lot.
Yeah. And that's a big if that's the case, then it's definitely a grand slam. I hope we're talking about it that way. But Kyle, on the other side, you might not like this. I'm going to bring up some of the risks with Filip Hronek, okay? But first, hey, I got to tell you, go take your swing at betting MLB on FanDuel and get 10 times your first amount in bonus bets, up to $200. That's right, just bet $20 and you'll land $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. How's that even possible, man? Hey, guess what? That's $200 you can spend betting on everything from the money line to the over-under to who you think is going to hit the first home run. And guess what? You can do it all on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Plus, when you win, you get paid instantly. There's no better place to bet on MLB than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So sign up today and visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get up to $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel, official partner of Major League Baseball.
By the way, before we get back to the show, I got to remind you again that every episode of Locked On Canucks will be available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, your favorite podcatcher at 4:20 p.m. for no reason at all. Again, every episode of Locked On Canucks at 4:20 p.m. for no reason at all. Let's get back to the show. Okay, we back. We're always back. It's Locked On Canucks. It's your team every day. Kind of, sort of, not really. Monday, Wednesday, Friday is the schedule we're giving you. And if we're feeling it, we'll hit you with bonus episodes in between those 3 days. Again, Trevor Beggs, Kyle Bhawan. We don't got better things to do. This is the best thing in the world. Talking about the Canucks, this was the dream. This was the dream. This is why Trevor Beggs and Kyle Bhawan met back in 2011, September of 2011. Anywho, enough about us. Let's keep talking about Filip Hronek and Beggsy. This is where you shine most, ironically, because this is the darkest part of this conversation. And I am scared of this because of how you had me feeling 5 minutes ago. Yeah, you're making me want to read essays on this guy and find Reddit posts about, Filip Hronek is really good at hockey. And now you might crush that.
I might. And again, it's wait and see. He's played 4 games for the Canucks. He was really good last season. We'll see what happens. But yeah, there's obviously some risks with this deal, okay? First and foremost, the number one risk in my eyes would be it turns out he can't defend very well, because that was the case through his first few NHL seasons. Now, again, he was a young chap in the NHL playing 22 to 24 minutes a night some seasons. Back in 2019-20, the guy was averaging close to 24 minutes a night. And Detroit was the worst team in the NHL. So that was a really tough situation for him to be in. But yeah, the underlying numbers don't paint a good picture for every single of his NHL seasons before last season, okay? I know he was, and again, passing the depth chart by Moritz Seider, who's younger. I know he was a Calder winner, but some cause for concern there. And also, here's this, Kyle, and this kind of leads to one of my other big risks with Hronek is, the Red Wings traded him. And, they're not flush with defensemen. That being said, they got quite a few defensive prospects coming up. But you know what smart teams do, Kyle? They draft and develop their defensemen. The Canucks didn't do that, so they had to take a shortcut. But now it's one of those situations where Hronek, again, could be on a value contract next season, making $4.4 million. And, hopefully it is a value contract. Hopefully he plays up and plays like an $8 million defenseman. That would be great news for the Canucks, but he's going to be due for a big raise at the end of next season. So is that something you're worrying about now, or is that just a problem for 2024?
Dude, I'm not worried about that because the deal has been done. We paid the premium. We have to live with it. And if we have to live with it, let's make the most of it. Paying a lot for players is one thing, but paying a lot for really good players is something that, dude, smart sports fans, we got a lot of them here on the West Coast, the best coast of Canada. We can live with that because those guys help you win games. It's all good. Help us win games. Now, okay, the defensive stuff aside and him only really having, 50, 60 games where he was, reliable, full-time, and showed signs of being that elite number 2 type of guy. I want to touch on, again, the fact that Detroit traded him. And I think the easy thing to say is they see this being the most they're ever going to get out of him. They see he's already peaked. He's not going to get better. Let's get rid of him, right now. He also doesn't want to sign for the money that we want to give him. Maybe they were trying to negotiate with them. I don't know. Like, who knows? They weren't allowed, but you never know. Maybe they had some inside sources and like they could tell like the number that they wanted to give Hronek in the offseason to extend him wasn't going to work out. Let's just get rid of him, okay? This is the most we can get for him, blah, blah, blah. I also wonder if there was like a bridge burned earlier. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe because I'm not hearing things, and I'm like vaguely seeing this in some comments on the videos about him and some tweets, like something about a personality issue. Something about that. Like, I don't know. Like sometimes we say those things as sports fans, but it's not his personality. It could be his relationship with the Red Wings, that was kind of broken. And that's why something imminent had to happen, and it did happen. I don't know. Like again, I'm just curious this will all pan out next season. We'll see how it actually looks, and maybe we'll hear more about, again, what happened in Detroit, because that's going to happen. Like, we got to put this out there. This guy's going to kill it. He's going to be elite, and people are going to question, like, yo, like, why did Detroit, out of all teams, get rid of a really good defenseman? And then maybe the news will come out on the why.
Yeah, to touch on the personality point a little bit, I haven't heard those reports, but he's considered to be a quiet dude. Mm-hmm. And you can kind of get that sense when he's even in media scrums, right? I was in a couple with him this year. He doesn't say a lot. He's a pretty quiet guy. And if we want to go down kind of conspiracy boulevard, with the Red Wings, one of his apparently one of his best friends on the team was Filip Zadina, and Zadina kind of fell to favor with the team that last year too. So obviously Zadina left the Red Wings this offseason. Hronek was traded in March, but it's interesting that the two good Czech buddies are now no longer on the Red Wings anymore. So take from that what you will. There might be nothing to take from it, but it's kind of something that popped in my head there. As we're talking about Hronek's personality and whatnot.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, again, I don't think we're going to be doing too much digging on this, because as a Canucks fan right now, like, dude, I think all Canucks fans should just focus on like what's going on the ice. We spend way too much time about talking about and living with off ice stuff. This is the year where players are accountable, and we can just focus on how they are as individual hockey players, but more notably how they mesh as a team. And I'm not scared anymore, though. I think months ago I was scared and confused and not trusting whatever Alvin was doing here. But the more and more I hear about this guy, I'm just looking forward to his potential. Yes, his potential being reached and him doing the most and getting better as a hockey player, and looking forward to getting paid a lot. Okay, speaking about getting paid, we got to run to ads right now, I think, on YouTube, but definitely on the podcast side. Speaking of the podcast side, thanks for listening. We're seeing those numbers go up. We really appreciate that. And leave us a review, leave us a rating. Why not? Let's put more bacon on Trevor's family's table. I don't got kids, but this guy got kids. So a review goes a long way, right? I think so. Anyways, Locked On Canucks, your team every day. Trevor Beggs, are we shouting out anyone on the YouTube side?
Nah.
Okay, let's get to Comment Corner. All right. Locked On Canucks, your team every day. Trevor Beggs, Kyle, Bhawan, again, living the dream. Speaking of the dream, Trevor Beggs, another weekend coming up, extended family, the best thing in life. You're doing it. You're living the most lavish of lives. What's the plan? What's the plan? Sunny weekend. What are you doing?
Yeah, so Saturday morning, gonna drag my two kids on a hike on Cyprus.
Whoa, come
It's a little 4.5K hike, no big deal. Little view of Cyprus or a little view looking over.
Please tell me Henry's in a stroller. Don't make this guy crawl up the mountain, okay?
Oh, no.
I know you want this guy to be
in a stroller on a hike. No, he's gonna be in my chest, buddy. He's gonna be in the little wrap in my chest, all wrapped up, safe and sound.
I thought you were gonna make him crawl up, dude, for real.
Dude, he's 1 month old. How much do you know about kids, bro?
No, I'm just saying, like, I know how much of an aggressive hockey dad you are, and you want this guy to be strong forearms, Trevor's dream, like, his first dream was to, again, talk about the Vancouver Canucks and use this as a source of income for his life, make a career out of it. And his second dream is to make sure his son is an NHL player.
We'll see how it goes, man. We'll see how it goes.
Oh man, sipping on a double-double, right? Sipping on a double-double.
Something like that, buddy. Something like that.
Hey, and thanks for asking what I'm doing this weekend, by the way.
Well, I thought you were coming over to my place on Saturday.
Good friend, there you go. That's what I was about to say. And I'm gonna come over in the early evening because in the later evening, my girl's got a show. She's gonna be singing.
Ooh. Oh yeah, there we go.
Love songs about me, and the show's not in my bedroom, baby. She's actually got a show, so I'm gonna go to that, and it's somewhere downtown, and I'm looking forward to it, man. Super blessed to be here alive, and again, given another chance to just live, breathe, and talk about the Canucks. Hey, speaking of talking about the Canucks, Comment Corner, it starts now. It's my favorite part of the show. It's Trevor Beggs' favorite part of. No, it really isn't. This is just a Kyle Bhawan thing, okay? Anyways, let's get into Comment Corner.
Welcome to Comment Corner, powered by Paraphrasing.
Today's comment comes from Harpoon.
Kyle, what are you smoking? Management doesn't owe Pettersson anything. If he's truly a franchise player, he himself needs to turn his team into a contender. He needs to be responsible for bringing the cup to Vancouver and steal from the mindset of Crosby and then Malkin, aka don't be a jackass.
Dude, Harpoon, he's the man, one of the greatest fans of the program, and he makes sense. He does make sense. And I know yesterday I was handing Pettersson the blank check, and it's because he's so important. And also, I do think the number of the salary cap is going to go way up in a couple of years. And this contract that he signs now, even if we have to give him 12.5 or 13 or 12 or whatever, he's going to be way worth it. And that's the time where the Canucks are going to be contenders. But I do understand at the same time, at that time, they're also going to be paying OEL a lot more to do nothing. So saving money is the necessity. I just don't know if it's wise of the Vancouver Canucks to be overly aggressive with trying to save dollars here. Maybe hope that Pettersson already has this in mind. You get what I'm saying? Like, don't piss off Pettersson here. That's what I'm trying to say. Because he's like the number one. The Vancouver Canucks are never getting a number one overall pick. They're not getting it. They're not getting a generational. You know what I'm saying? He's that guy. He's the generational talent. That's how much I believe in this guy.
Here's the question. Again, thanks for the comment, Harpoon. Here's the question for you, Kyle, and for you listening right now. For Pettersson, like, say you are driving a hard negotiation, are you better off overpaying him, or are you better off letting him walk? And I know he's an RFA, so he's not necessarily walking, but those are kind of the two things on my mind right now.
Yeah.
On the ice, it's like, how much more could this guy do, right? But I know Harpoon's point is more about the salary. At the end of the day, I think this isn't a Toronto Maple Leaf situation where you have like three guys who all of a sudden like make it $11 million, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, where am I going to spend the rest of my money? We're talking about one guy right now. We're talking about Elias Pettersson. That's it. He's the one guy. Quinn Hughes get locked up for another 3 years. So again, I'm pretty comfortable throwing Elias Pettersson in the bag right now if he wants to stay in Vancouver. And the last thing I'll say here, Kyle, is that it's fair to criticize, and you and I have done it, these win now moves by the Canucks, because it's like, they were a bottom dwelling team last season. But, one of the arguments to make of these win now moves is Elias Pettersson's in his prime. This is the time to make a run. I see that argument, as much as, the betting era has scarred me with all those like failed win now moves. I mean, I'm seeing the rationale, because you got Hughes, Pettersson, and Demko all in their primes right now.
Well,
and the Canucks aren't really that close to being Stanley Cup contenders. So hopefully this year's the year they make a big jump.
And I believe Pettersson's prime is like open for a lot of years, straight up. There's levels to this stuff. There are, man. I think we've seen it in the past. I mean, look at Vegas. I mean, Mark Stone, like premier player. He is a premier player. He's like elite. He really is. And look at his age and look at when he got it done. Still like young, old, but like his windows like was open for a long time. And I think Pettersson's window is going to be open for that long too. And I think, again, like, I don't know who these people are, or what they're thinking, because the objective here is also to sign Pettersson for 8 years. That's why the number's going up too. Like they're like Pettersson, if they're going to give him like 11 or 10.5 or whatever, right? I think there's a good chance this guy's like, okay, cool, but let's make this a 4-year deal. Let's make this a 5-year deal so I can re-up again down the road and become a UFA. That option's like, that makes sense if you're in Pettersson's position. It's just the truth, because the salary cap's going to go up and he's still going to be super elite. And I wonder if, the next time around, he can get paid $15.5, $17 million a year. Who knows what the number's going to be? I'm just saying, So the objective here is to sign him for 8 years. And that's why I'm thinking like that $100 million deal, it'll be worth it. Talking about Pettersson, man. The one guy, again, hope is dope. Hope is dope. If Pettersson is not a Canuck, like, I know you can get a lot for him, but he's our generational guy. If there's no Pettersson in the future of the Vancouver Canucks, hope is nope. Hope is nope. It's just the truth, man. It's just the truth. He's that damn good. He's that damn good.
I was thinking mope is dope if Pettersson leaves the city, we're gonna try to spin a positive spin on moping, but I think that the point you make about 8 years is a great point, Kyle, because you want this guy with this team as long as possible. Like, he is the franchise,
dude,
and let's lock him up long term. I again, if he's demanding like, maybe McDavid money, right now, then maybe it's a bit of a different story. But this guy's worth a lot of money. That's for sure. He's one of the best players in the NHL.
Dude, he's just that damn good. And last note on him, we can talk about Pettersson for minutes and minutes and minutes and minutes, but we got to get out of here. I got to go to the beach. Okay. It was 1 year, and it was the quote unquote, actually it wasn't the fake playoffs. Me and you talked about it. The feelings were in our stomach. So that made the playoffs real. Pettersson did it in his first run in the playoffs. What did he do? He was not only the best player on the Vancouver Canucks, he damn well might have been one of the best players in the playoffs up until the point he got eliminated. We've been around this franchise for a very long time. Nothing against Henrik and Daniel, nothing against Marcus Naslund, Bertuzzi, blah, 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 blah. We've had premium offensive players, and it either took them a while to get revved up for the playoffs and able to play their game and pick up points, but Pettersson did it in year one. The guy's a gamer, and he will go down if he plays his whole career as a Vancouver Canuck as the greatest Canuck of all time. Locked On Canucks, your team every day. Trevor Beggs. Yes, Trevor Beggs, Kyle Bhawan. I got to go. One love to everyone listening to this program. Shout out to Comment Corner. Shout out to, what else? Shout out to family. Okay? Daydream. Also daydream. If you're listening to this, take some time to daydream today. Every little thing is going to be all right. Beggsy, sign us out.
All right. Shout out to the everydayers, the occasional listeners. And this is your first time listening. Welcome to the Locked On Canucks family, baby. Coming up next week on the agenda, I still want to do a bit of a deep dive into Teddy Blueger. I want to take a look at what the Canucks lines will actually look like next season. I've also done some research on Patrick Alvin. Okay, how did he draft when he was with the Pittsburgh Penguins? Was he actually good at drafting? I want to do a bit of that as a good summer episode. But for now, I'm Trevor Beggs. That guy's Kyle Bhawan, and you've been listening to Locked On Canucks.